On today's show, Matt Kline, the franchise brand developer for Oxi Fresh carpet cleaning franchises, joins us to share the 5 toughest aspects involved in owning and managing a franchise, including how do you find the right people that can actually do the job? How do you push through that ramp-up period when the cash flow is not looking very good? How do you organize and manage your day? How do you manage your cash flow? And how do you stay on top of your taxes? All this and more on today's interview with Mr. Matt Kline.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Oh, yes, and yes. Z, it is yet another exciting edition of the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. And for some reason, I have a fever.
Oh,
and the only cure could be more cowbell. So we've got, blowing my mind, Matt Kline on the phone here with Oxi Fresh, based in beautiful Denver, Colorado. Matt, we're talking today about the 5 toughest aspects of running a franchise. So once somebody unwraps the gift wrapping, once they fill out a form, they learn more about Oxi Fresh, you send them a franchise disclosure document, they fly to Denver, Colorado for a discovery day, and they decide to sign on the line, and you decide they're a good fit. You award them a franchise. Now they have one in their own local city. Matt, what is the toughest aspect of running a franchise? We got the top 5. If you had to say the toughest challenge of running a franchise, what is it, my friend?
Yeah, I think, and thanks for letting me be on the show today. For us, and I think every other business, I don't think this is just, specific to one industry or one business. It is absolutely finding the right people. And it's not just finding the right people that can do the job. It's finding the right people that are going to work alongside you and what your vision is and how you can get there with a group of people that are all walking down the same path. And sometimes, that takes a little while to find those people. But that, good employers can see it and they can develop people and they can, make people better than when they got to that company. So finding the right people, I think, absolutely is the hardest thing and takes the most amount of skill and time and effort.
Dr. Z, I have a notable quotable. This just in from the Fun Police. We want to take the room down just a little bit here. This just in from the Fun Police.
Are you playing bad cop this show?
Well, I want to get your take on this. I think this. You get to be bad cop, and then let Matt be the good cop about this fun fact.
Okay.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce did a study. They teamed up with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce teamed up with CBS News. We're putting a link to it on the show notes. And what they found was that 75% of American employees are stealing from the workplace. And that ripped my soul out from me when I had built the DJ company and all the DJs were bros.
Yeah.
Because they're all guys I went to college with. They were bros.
Bro.
They're all bros. Z, when did you first become aware that many people either steal actual tangible goods and cash or time from you as the owner?
Well, my first employee. I got stealing cash. And it was just so unfortunate. The problem is when you have a small business, you don't have a lot of people kind of looking over shoulders because there's not a lot of shoulders to be looking over, right? And so when I first started, it was me and one person. And I inherited her with the office that I just kind of started. It's kind of a start by, but she kind of came on board.
Hey, real quick, Simon Sinek has this book called The Power of Why.
Yeah.
And it's about how it's called Simon Sinek. Let me pull it up here. Simon Sinek, Z, the Power of Why. I want to
how to inspire.
Well, Z, I don't want to reprimand you right here on the show, but I think I'm going to have to. I don't want to do it, but I was looking at this. It says how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. Start with why.
So she took action.
You were a bad leader if she
took action
along with cash.
Yeah, she took action. She would just when someone came in and paid for an eye exam and cash, she just wouldn't. They'd disappear. And I've kind of finally figured that out, and I let her go and hired. I hired actually the first Alicia, my first employee.
Oh,
Hi,
nice.
Alicia, if you're out there listening,
Hello.
she was the best. But the problem is that now I have multiple people touching the money, multiple people looking over shoulders, double checking, verifying,
Triple checking.
Yes, the person that did the day sheet isn't the one that confirmed this, isn't the one that's taking it to the bank, isn't the one that's doing the reconciliation. And so when you get to a certain size, it's a little easier to kind of have people watching other people. But Matt, would you say that when you're really small like that? I mean, it's sometimes tough to catch them.
It is tough to catch them, and I think the goal is to be in tune enough with your business to start to see trends. And I've had this happen in my business, right? One thing with Oxi Fresh is you can get a cancellation, but they may do the job, right? And that should never be. If that's happening, you're not really looking at your business, because you can see we have GPS trucks and our vehicles and things like that. But you're absolutely right, and just don't get into a spot. And I'm certainly can be blamed for this, to where you think your employees are so good and so loyal to you that that's not possible. And I've had that happen. And then I basically had someone else had to look at my business and say, what's going on? Well, it's clear, that they're kind of skimming off the top. Boom. Fixed immediately. But it kind of just took stepping away a little bit.
But go back to the bad cop, though.
Oh, bad cop, yeah.
You go back to the bad cop stuff. And Clay, to be fair, some of that is they're stealing time. They're stealing pencils. They're stealing stuff that,
Accoutrements.
I mean, we've had debate. You and I have had a knockdown debate. We haven't had a cage fight debate in a while.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you have
Ding, ding, ding.
you have your number one sales guy. Okay,
Yeah.
Clay, your number one sales guy, Rockstar, does twice as much as the next salesperson. Okay.
Yep.
And every day he's late 5, 10, maybe 15 at the most. Okay. And every day he tries to slip out 5, 10, 15 early. Okay.
Got it.
Do you fire him?
If you can. So
Well, I mean, he's doing two. He's doing 2 times the next one.
Let me just walk you through my rules on this.
Okay, walk me through. Because he's stealing from you, right?
Well, the Patriots.
Go ahead.
Bill Belichick has this concept of if you're late, you don't play in the next game. So he's famously carried that out with Randy Moss. People have alleged that's what happened to Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl. But the point is, nobody's bigger than the Patriots, and that's a great thing to say. But you've got to be 100% committed to that. So, an elephant in the room, we have a policy where if you do something that's against the system, we'll write you up, document that it happened. But we have had one of our top stylists. I'm not even exaggerating. We've written this person up probably 30 times, but they've been with us for like 4 years. It seems like about every 3 months, just a little bit of crazy happens.
Oh, yeah.
But they're really good. So in that case, absolutely not, because I can't replace them. I can't.
So you put up. So my point is, you put up with a little bit of jackassery.
Oh, yeah.
Because
if they're a rock star.
Well, it's like Johnny Depp. I mean, think about Charlie Sheen. Remember that Charlie Sheen ride there, Matt Kline? Remember Charlie Sheen? That hot streak that he was on
one for a while.
He was just winning. And the thing was, he was getting $1 million an episode for his show. I think it was over $1 million per episode. And he was on drugs, and he was just doing some crazy stuff. He was dating adult film stars, and he was just being a crazy guy. But the show had good ratings, and that continued until they didn't need to. Enter into the Terrell Owens phase, enter into the... who's the guy on the Cowboys right now who unfortunately cannot find a job?
Des Bryant.
Des Bryant.
He's no longer on the Cowboys, but he was.
Or, Terrell Owens. It's like where a guy gets to a point where that's just not worth the headache. So all I would say is you put up with them till you don't have to.
There you go, and that's the threshold. And so if few pencils go missing, I don't think you do. You bring in the.
That's kind of the point
police.
I was going to bring up is you do have to draw the line somewhere, right? When it's nefarious and it's a huge deal when you catch them stealing, like you said, cash. Z. I mean, that's over the line, right?
So roughest aspect of running an Oxi Fresh, number one, or any franchise, is finding the right people to do the job. Now, Matt, as you're thinking about the toughest challenges, because again, there's turnkey marketing. You guys have a proven brand. You have all these systems. There's so many aspects that make it very easy to run an Oxi Fresh. But as we're thinking about the most difficult aspects, what's the second most difficult aspect of running an Oxi Fresh franchise or any franchise?
Yeah, and I think the NE is important, and I think we have a leg up on most when it comes to this, but ramp-up period, right? The perfect world, whatever you're currently doing, it'd be nice to just jump into a business that's fully operating, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's just not really usually the case. So it's having the realistic expectations and understanding that, the effort that I put in now, 3 months down the road is going to help my business exponentially grow, right? If I do nothing today, well, you should expect in 3 months for your business, right, to be a little less than it would be if you did something that day, right? And I think as you grow your business, that ramp-up period needs to be understood. You're not going to go from 0 jobs to 70, which is one full schedule of 1 month for a tech. It's going to grow, 10 jobs this month, 20 to 25 jobs next month. And you just need to keep your foot on the pedal and just understand that it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. The things you do today will help you tomorrow and vice versa. Just really having an understanding of the growth plan and being able to budget for it and being able to do all the things necessary so you can still live comfortably, do the things you need to doing while growing your business to a sustainable level.
Let me make sure I give Matt some support on what he just said here. Warren Buffett, in his book called Snowball, he once wrote, he says, buying stock at the price was like picking up a discarded cigar butt that had one puff remaining in it. Though the stub might be ugly and soggy, that puff would be free. Once that momentary pleasure was enjoyed, however, no more could be expected. He goes on, so this is what I'm saying. When you buy an Oxi Fresh for all in, what, $57,000? Is it $37,000 plus about $20,000 of working capital? Am I off there?
Yeah, yep. You're right.
So just a hair under $60,000. Z, you could not possibly buy any business that I could think of for under $60,000. I mean, come on, that's a hot deal.
That's a hot sauce.
That's a great deal. Yeah. But it's at that point, it's the values at the all-time low because there's no customers, but you have 385 franchises that are up and operational. Proof of concept is great. You're buying back your time. You're buying the systems. You're saving time, saving money. It's great. But the reason why it's not $1 million to buy an Oxi Fresh franchise is that when you buy it, you have to breathe life into it. But if you bought one from, Matt, let's say you had a franchise where you were doing $500,000 a year of gross revenue at a 20% profit. Well, see, at that point, you're talking about needing to go into Regent Bank and borrow $500,000 or $250,000 to buy a business. I think anybody out there is delusional if you think you can buy a franchise and not have the struggle of the ramp-up period. See, am I out of my mind here? If you're any kind of business at all, you got to go through that ramp-up period.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is we always celebrate the victories. We always celebrate the big house or the, hey, look, he's got a jet.
We always celebrate
it's a big old house. Hey, I'm retired now. I did it. So we celebrate that, but we don't really celebrate the grinding and the hard work and the hours that you have to put into it that are maybe above and beyond what you thought you were going to have to do.
Right.
I mean, at some point, whenever you start a business, you have to have the mindset of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this successful. And that ramp up time frame, unless you've done it, it's hard to explain it, but it's a all in, all hands on deck, and the hands are yours and anybody else you could get on your team immediately. But it's that ramp up period is real, and I think that's where a lot of businesses lose it because they're just like, I had a young man one time, Clay, for example. Listen to this story. He wanted to open up a high-end clothing store.
High-end.
High-end.
You don't want to be a bottom feeder. What's high-end? Yeah.
High-end T-shirts and high-end accoutrements and some of those little skinny-legged jeans and then the
leather bracelets.
Fat-legged jeans. Leather, yes, of course. Yeah. A whole barrage of leather bracelets, of course.
That sounds hot.
Leather-bound books.
This sounds hot.
Rich mahogany.
He came to me as a young man and he said, listen, I want you to mentor me.
Yes.
Coach me. Help me.
Skinny jeans. Ascots.
And I said, can I get one of those leather bracelets if I help? Well, sure.
Absolutely, sure. Friends and family discount.
Yeah.
Leather bracelets.
And so we helped the setup, help pricing, help some of the concepts.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really, he didn't hire me. And so I didn't, I wasn't really kind of all in, but he would come by and bounce some things off of me. And I would say yes, no, or give him my opinion. Well, 3 months later, I ran into him and I said, hey, how's it going? He goes, I'm going to shut it down.
Shut her down.
Shut it down.
You got to shut her down.
I said, well, what do you think? Why are you having to shut it down? He goes, man, I
can't keep it
open. Two things that Matt just came right off the bat with. He goes, one, I can't find good help that's not stealing from me. And two, the startup period is just too tough, me. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, I on Saturdays, I'm not there on Saturdays. I go, whoa, why aren't you there on Saturday? He goes, dude, that's the weekend. That's my leg day. Are you kidding me?
Ooh.
Are you kidding me? That's the day I spent the leg.
For anybody out there that has been a very successful Oxi Fresh franchisee that you can think of right now, kind of visualize somebody who just accepted the fact that there was a ramp-up period and did very well. Can you kind of describe the make and model of that mindset and that person who embraces the fact that there is a ramp-up period and who actually stoically just pushes through it and doesn't need a whole lot of outside inspiration?
I think first and foremost is just having the optimism and the self-confidence to realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel. The nice thing with Oxi Fresh, our tunnel is very short, and you can get to that point with working with our team and that sort of thing. But yeah, positive outlook, aggressive owner, right? Being able to leverage, specifically in the first few months, you should be using most minutes of your day growing that business. So I get a lot of people that say, I want a business where I don't have to do anything. I go, well, then you need to look somewhere else, because that's a pretty tough thing, right? And when I look on the other side of the fence, I have people say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate my time to making sure I'm the best carpet cleaning franchise or carpet cleaning company in my area or floor cleaning company in my area. And those that stick to that really become very successful because they have more tools and things like that with Oxi Fresh. But you just want to have the drive. If you go into a business and you're kind of lackluster and you're not excited and you just want it to work for you and you're not going to work on it, that's a pretty steep hill to climb. So again, realistic expectations, work your butt off now so that you can really reap the benefits down the road. And that's not everybody. So positive outlook. Background doesn't matter to us because effort is the most important thing. Effort trumps all in this business because we can teach you everything else.
So you no longer look just for former NHL professional Hall of Fame hockey players?
We do not.
Okay.
Nope.
I didn't know if that was still a thing. That was just...
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now a tough aspect number 3 of running a franchise that I see is helping somebody organize their day, focusing on things that matter. I want to start with your take on that, Matt. Because I think it's so easy to spend your whole day on social media arguing with somebody or making political comments or networking at events that don't matter. I mean, you think it's helpful going to networking events every hour of the day, but talk to me about why it's so challenging for many people to learn how to be self-disciplined now that they're self-employed.
Yeah. Typically people say, I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I get that. But, when you work with someone, you're being told what road to walk down. It's very easy to be successful in that model because there it is. That's what I'm told to do. I'll do it. And I think most people, when it comes to small business ownership, it takes a little while to learn what you're good at and what you're not. Typically, most people like to spend their time on things they're good at because it makes them feel good. It's hard to get people to spend time on things they're bad at. So if you suck at marketing, right, which most people do, by the way, spend some time understanding the ins and outs of the marketing that you're using. Don't just use it, right? Lean on us. Understand why it's important to use Yelp, for instance, and getting those reviews. And what other things go along with Yelp? For instance, most people don't realize when it comes down to Siri and Alexa, there's a very good chance that those will be tied to some sort of form like Yelp. So if you want to, form on it. So what I'm getting to is spend the time on your whole business. Don't just spend the time on things that you're good at. And in a given day, you may need to shift your efforts on just your technicians' development and getting them to a better customer satisfaction score. And that's going to take time, right? It's going to take, next day is going to be, I have a stack of work orders here and I have no idea what's going on and if my technicians are doing good or bad because I haven't closed out my work orders in 3 months, right? So it's just getting the system in place where every day you can knock out something, small so that you can actually focus on the whole of your business. And you're exactly right. Time, management is extremely hard for most people, myself included. And you just got to work on it. Maybe find someone that's good at it, use best practices. You can look at least with Oxi Fresh, over 230 different franchisees. Out of those 230, there's going to be some very good ones. They're doing the exact same thing you're doing on the same day. They have the same type of employees, same type of marketing, same type of cleaning system, obviously. And you can share best practices. I just, learn from others and create a good process for yourself.
Now, Dr. Z, tough aspect number 4 of managing any business or a new franchise is managing cash flow. Can you briefly speak, Dr. Z, on managing cash flow?
I think I hear so many times that a business failed because it was undercapitalized. They didn't realize the cash flow situation that's going to be. In other words, you've got bills to pay. You open up the business. You have also you want to make a living. Most people they've got to make money.
There's too much money going out and not enough money coming in.
This is the problem. You gotta look at the numbers.
Look at the numbers.
And you know what? I quit my job maybe too soon. Maybe I should get my job while I'm starting my new business.
I should work on those Saturdays.
I need to go see Sneaks.
But you know what? If I just get 100 clients tomorrow,
100
I'll be
clients.
rolling.
I had a job I earned 6 figures. I bought an Oxi Fresh. I quit on Monday. I had $7,000 saved. I lied to my main man back Kline. I lied to him. I said I had more money in the bank. I found out Luigi didn't have any money in the bank. Now I smacked Kline. Why are we not growing faster, man? What's the deal?
Yeah, and cash flow is a huge thing. You can have a profitable company. Sometimes you have to float a deal. In other words, you're putting money out of your pocket, like back when you guys were in construction, right?
Oh,
back
yeah.
when you guys were laying cement.
Yeah.
You'd do a deal, and then you maybe wouldn't get paid for it for 30, 60, 90 days.
90 days, 60 to 90 days often. Yeah,
Those are the kind of deals that Jeff preferred.
Yeah,
I love it.
So you have to, it's not only about doing the business, but it's also about managing when you're going to get paid for it and understanding that that's as important because you put money out, you have your time, you have resources, you have product, and if you're not getting that money back in a good enough time, you got to make sure you have a war chest or some money in the bank to cover said expenses. Because unfortunately, I don't know why, but if you don't pay your electric bill, they'll shut the darn thing off.
Come on.
Which doesn't make much sense if you think about it. It's like, I'll get to you guys, come on.
Now,
good for
tough
it.
aspect number 5, Matt, I want to get your take on this, is staying on top of your taxes. Now, this is different from cash flows. I'm just going to tee up an example. Let's say an Oxi Fresh owner, new franchisee, makes $100,000 of profit after their first year. They got to pay their share to the federal government, state government, et cetera, et cetera. Probably a third of it or more is going back to the government. Can you talk about the importance of staying on top of your taxes and not just abdicating that and never actually being on top of your taxes, Matt?
Sure. And I can tell you firsthand, I learned, this when I very first started. We have a very easy model. There's not many moving parts when it comes to a spreadsheet for us and our chart of accounts. My biggest issue when I first started is I didn't really have an accountant on my team for like 7 months. So I just had like all these transactions going on. The very beginning is actually when you have most of the unique transactions, setting things up and things you would never really buy as you're an established franchise or established company. So by the time I was 7 months down the road, I had to basically spend, days with my accountant getting my chart of accounts. When if I just started in the beginning, did that normally, that's one thing. So just don't go down the path I did. If you have an accounting background, super easy to do your chart of accounts. We can actually help you with that. But that one was important. But people in small business don't realize the implications of not understanding your taxes. So if at the end of the year, just like you said, you feel like you just made $200,000, but you don't account for taxes. You don't have anything in the bank to pay your taxes if you need to pay, right? Yep. That can be very detrimental to your next year's growth. It's the opposite of having, what you think you have in the bank. So I would just, understand it, just like I talked about, invest some time in understanding where you stand. If you're a C Corp, S Corp, and it's very easy to learn. All right, just use the resources at your disposal to understand where you stand. And that way there's nothing that's going to surprise you when you do your taxes. And if there's nothing that's going to surprise you, then you can budget for the next year and you can do the things you need to. And you may just see at the end of the year, it makes sense to buy a boat. Right? But if you do that without knowing the implications of buying that boat when you get taxes, then it becomes a detriment to your business.
If you're out there today and you say, you know what, I want a proven turnkey marketing system. I want a company with a history of success. I want to be self-employed for myself. And I want to take a selfie of myself in my own vehicle that I own myself. And I want low startup costs. And I want cutting-edge carpet cleaning, super green carpet cleaning technology. You, my friend, need to go to thrivetimeshow.com/Oxi Fresh. Now, Z, we don't want to apply pressure for the listeners out there.
No pressure.
We would never say, come on now.
Come on.
I mean, we'll supply
really,
we would never say.
We would never do the really.
Call in the next 10 seconds, or we wouldn't do those kind of things.
No.
We're above that.
We are above that. Besides, it's hard to make a phone call in 10 seconds anyway.
Right. But anyway, we'd strongly encourage you to go to thrivetimeshow.com/Oxi Fresh. Fill out the form. Matt will give you a call. He'll tell you about the brand. And Matt, Z has one more final hot, fresh question for you.
I know you're in Denver, and so I know you're well connected and you're kind of a big deal. I just had a quick question for you. How's John Elway doing? And are you guys doing dinner this week again?
I'd love to. We're on the outs right now because I'm a pretty big Broncos fan. I'm pretty tired of losing.
Yeah.
So I told him, before we do dinner again, you better get this train back on the track.
Well, that's fair. I think that's,
Can't argue with that.
I think that's fair.
It's a standard of excellence.
When you say
Well, they just caught our backup quarterback breaking and entering someone's home. So I think he's got a little bit on his plate this
He forgot his key
So
already.
maybe-
These things happen. Come on.
Yeah, maybe push to the next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, sorry about the Broncos. Sorry about those guys. You guys are
Oh, no.
you guys are on the upswing. I can
we
feel
just
it.
beat the worst team in the NFL, so things are looking up.
Who's the worst team in the NFL?
I think it's the
Bills.
Arizona Cardinals.
No, the
We
Cardinals,
just
yeah, the
romped them.
Cardinals, yeah.
But we do play the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead this week, so that one should be fun.
May you not lose by more than 40 points.
Yeah, that would be great.
May you not get Mahomed. You're going to get Mahomed, I have a feeling.
yeah.
Well, next time you see him, tell him I said hi. And
I will.
And now, without any further ado, here we
go.
go. 3, 2, 1, boom! In the game of life and in the game of business, there are both cowboys and idiots. Well, I tell you what, I don't know who you're talking about, but let's go ahead and nip this in the butt right now. Well, the first ample example now provided by you via sample was the phrase "nip it in the butt." When you just said you wanted to nip it in the butt, it made me question many, many things, one of which was, why would you want to nip something in the butt? Well, I'll tell you this, brother, you just killed me 2 stones with 1 bird, man. Your tone ain't very nice, and you don't know what you're talking about. I unfortunately now rest my case. To be a successful entrepreneur, we all know you have to be a cowboy, but you don't want to be an idiot. Brother, you need to make a 360-degree life change. You sound so angry. And according to Forbes, between 36 and 53% of all small business owners are going to be involved in at least one piece of litigation in any given year. Well, brother, I'll tell you this. I look at that as positivity, because that ain't every business that's being sued. That's just 36%. So I rebuke your negativity. And so despite his jackassery, my challenge that I pose for you is to take the 30-second test. Go to cowboysandidiots.com. Again, that's cowboysandidiots.com to make sure that you, your family, and your business is properly insured. In this litigious society that we're in, over 35% of small business owners will be sued this year. The good news is that includes everybody but you. Brother, I already knew that. That's why I'm not going to cowboysandidiots.com. Take the challenge and take the 30-second assessment at cowboysandidiots.com.